in a world crying out for a top 10 show. John Roca and Matt Nost are here to bring you the top 10. Take it away, boys. Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of the Top 10 Show. I am John Roca.
I am Matt Nost.
And this week, this is going to be a very interesting topic. You know, Matt, I always worry that we're going to run out of topics. I always worry that we're going to split that atom till there's nothing left, and we're going to cut our fingers on the razor that we're trying to slice a really thin onion with.
And that's when we go, you know what we haven't done in a while? They've done so many movies in that category.
Steven Spielberg.
Exactly. There's
Tom
been
Cruise.
7 new Spielberg since the first time we did it.
That's
we
true.
should really reevaluate this list. West Side
point.
Story is my number one.
Oh,
That's for sure.
oh, Jesus Christ. I'm not excited by that at all.
I don't know why that needed a remake.
Yep.
It was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I don't know what. Maybe it'll capture the imaginations of a new generation and it'll give it more life.
Yeah.
Perhaps that's what he's trying to do, is just like reintroduce an entire new world that's never seen this movie.
I guess. My concern is this. That movie won 11 fucking Oscars. If you're going to remake this movie, first of all, and you're not Latino, let's put that out there, then I need you to come in with something incredible. Like, incredible, right? Are you going to be able to do it? Who's involved in it? Let me see. That first picture they released looks like a bunch of high school kids, pretty high school kids at your local theater doing a version of the film. It does not look like the harder edge. And I know you're going to say that some people are going to push back. Go, well, nobody looks like a badass in the original. Bullshit. Cool is badass. Action is badass. Bernardo is fucking badass. Certainly, the Latino kid who kills Tony is badass. But that's the thing. I didn't like the picture also because all the light skinned Latino, they made the Latinos look light skinned who are looking at the camera. The two darker skinned Latinos are looking down at the ground or away from the camera. That pissed me off. It was a terrible picture to release.
I think just hypothesizing. Just throwing it out there.
Sure.
You already had such a visceral reaction to all of it that now you're looking for extra things and okay, so the two dark-skinned are looking down and away. So you're overanalyzing.
Certainly possible. But
we all do it.
As a Latino, I'm looking at it in a certain way.
Of course. I will throw this out once again. He's also, he said as non-Latino, he's got a tall bar. He's brought us aliens, and it's been believable. You know what I mean? He's managed to connect to things that we have no real connection to.
No, it's fair.
And we buy it.
He certainly deserves the benefit of the doubt, Spielberg does. He's never done a musical.
Exactly.
Robert Altman tried to do a musical, became Popeye, and is a piece of shit. So it's this is what concerns me with people who try to do musicals later in life as directors.
But you could look at a lot of Catch Me If You Can is somewhat of a very fast-moving play.
Yeah, true.
So that's just one example. I'm sure there are others, but of just okay, he can deal with this faster style where you need to kind of segue and whatnot, and it's you don't want to go full Rocket Man-ish, but at the same time, be able to do a little bit of both and pull it off. Yeah, he's earned the credit.
Let me ask you something about this. Does it concern you? We're older men. Does it concern you that they do these remakes as a way, like you said, of opening the door to this project with a new generation, to appreciate this? But you're also closing the door possibly to the originals. By remaking these films, you're also saying you don't have to go watch these originals. You can watch the remakes and fall in love with it.
Still, though, how many people went back and rewatched the original Ocean's 11 because they were remaking it, and that wasn't regarded as a good film?
It wasn't regarded as it's not a good film. It's boring as hell.
So I honestly think it gives it life, because then when it has others, okay, what if someone stumbles upon Alien?
Yeah.
He's like, were there any other good Alien movies?
Right.
Yeah, actually, there were a few, and there were some that are just dog shit.
Yeah.
But it keeps that franchise alive, so to speak. This isn't exactly a franchise, but if they like the one, be like, oh, the original's even better. Really? I love everything about this. I can't wait. Hamilton had a huge resurgence. That became cultural phenomenon that hasn't done since what, the 80s?
Yeah.
when we hear about this new big play. I remember I fucking heard him. Phantom of the Opera,
Right.
and Miss Saigon,
Cats,
and Les Miserables.
Yeah, Les Mis. Right.
Yeah, I knew as a kid,
Right.
10 Broadway plays, and I had never seen one.
Yeah.
So now the kids are like Hamilton, and they all have the soundtrack singing. Maybe it's a wellspring. They're like, let's go back and unearth some things and try and teach them.
I hope it does. Look, I'm not rooting against the movie. I want it to be good because it's a great story and it's a great musical. But you're asking a lot. 11 Oscars, man. You're going up against an 11 Oscar film. That's a tough, tall task. And I haven't been that excited about the casting, but maybe the first trailer will just completely win me over. And you know me, I will change my mind.
Sure.
If it's good. If I think it's good.
What if those two dark-skinned characters look down and away the whole film? That's giving you a nod to who they are. And by the way, I just want to let you know, anytime, because you were worried about the shading being a little lighter this time around, we gentrify a lot of stuff.
We really do, man.
So
it's frustrating.
Yeah.
School Days, that Spike Lee film is all about the lighter skinned black versus the darker skinned black. Like, what is that all about, and the inherent classism that exists even within the black community about that exists in the Latino community for sure. A lot of people don't think you're actual Latino unless you're darker skinned. And lighter skinned Latinos get upset at darker skinned Latinos for what they see as judgment or inauthenticity or whatever.
Sure.
So it's all there. So we'll see. We'll see what he does with it, and we'll see how it plays out. But yeah. Anyway, that was a nice little segue. I don't know where we got it.
I know. Yeah. Well, it's a real thing in that I know slurs. Because I've had so many friends.
Sure.
And if we get to know each other long enough, like I got a wide spectrum of races.
Yeah.
And we all say the worst things terrible to each other.
Yeah.
But it's all kind of individual. It took years to build up to. And I've heard things that are like, oh shit. Really? Okay. Never heard that. Makes sense. Like I could totally see that because there's a parallel over in this one. And it's like, all right. And you just kind of learn things about, all the different ways we can hate each other. So,
if there's anything we do well as human beings,
hating and killing.
Yeah, hating and killing.
That's what we do. We find new ways to do both all the time. Right? When one is ruled out, you can't do it this way anymore. Well, I'll figure out a workaround.
I'll find another way.
Exactly. We're not violating conventions, but still getting the same outcome until they ban that. And like, we'll figure out another way to do this. We will. We're always going to be assholes to each other. We just are. It's unfortunate.
I wish sad ingenuity.
It is. I wish we could all live in harmony.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
Of course.
Never going to happen.
No.
Never.
People always have their agendas or their points of view and their feelings about stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
very, very true.
It is.
Anyway.
We sidetracked off.
We really did. This week, we decided to do the top 10 films set in Africa.
Set in
Africa in honor of the release, speaking of a remake, of the remake of The Lion King, which is a live action version from Disney on the heels of Aladdin and a number of other ones, Jungle Book, Pete's Dragon, Cinderella that they've done recently. And with the Mulan trailer having dropped today as we're recording, there's another one on the way.
Yep.
So The Lion King is
they're going to keep coming.
Oh, yeah, for a while. I just want them to start tackling like the smaller ones like Treasure Planet or Titan AE or maybe better ones.
Treasure Planet has a chance. Titan AE is never going to be done.
Okay, fine. Treasure Planet.
Well,
certainly,
but that's based on a pre-existing.
Right, you're right. Good point.
Yeah, instead of Treasure Island, it's Treasure Planet. I thought it was great. So did you?
Yeah, I loved it.
Wish more people had seen it.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. The visuals are fantastic.
Yeah,
I haven't seen any of the live actions, and I don't think there's 10. Did we flirt with doing a live action?
I don't think there's 10 live action.
I don't think so.
Versions yet.
There will be in short order.
Right.
Like a year from now, there's a good chance we could probably bang one out.
What about Voyage to Atlantis? Did you like that one?
It's good.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
So. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, good.
I was just gonna say to tackle more of man's mythology like that. Okay, that's sure.
Yeah, I was down with that one. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they're not going to stop you, like you said. They're going to keep exploring.
It's what's next.
The Little Mermaid one is the one that the casting news broke out this week with they cast a young black actress to play Ariel. So that's going to be interesting how that all plays out. I'm excited for it. Good cast so far, and they're talking to Melissa McCarthy for.
It's a matter of what's next. They've already done Beauty and the Beast.
Yep.
So what else are they going to go back for? Cinderella's off. So Snow White.
Yeah.
Bambi.
Bambi's possible.
Bambi's definitely possible, actually.
Well, they're doing Lady and the Tramp for Disney Plus, probably.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That gets relegated too?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think that's one that's going to capture the imagination.
Yeah. Very true. They've already done 101 rather.
Yeah.
Dalmatians. 1,001.
Is Tarzan possible?
Sure.
Is Hercules possible?
Tarzan and Hercules are both possible. I think Tarzan would.
There have been so many, man, that never do well.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. I would rather see Hercules, personally, but Tarzan would be unique.
Yeah. In that way, a live action version of it.
I don't know, though. I've never really enjoyed the character Tarzan.
Oh,
I can't think of a single one where I'm like, well, yeah, that one was great. They're always fine at best to me.
Okay.
I've never really been, tuned into that character.
All right. Fair enough.
You don't feel the same?
I love Tarzan. And I love Hercules. I like them both. Those are my two favorite of that time. Although Finding Nemo, I guess, but Pixar, that's Pixar though, so I can't throw that in the mix. Can't, right? Is that Pixar? Finding
No,
Nemo?
that's Disney.
Oh, it's Disney?
No, I'm sorry. Hercules or what?
No, Finding Nemo. That's Pixar, right?
Yeah, that's Pixar.
Yeah. So Disney for me, I don't put Beauty and the Beast and Little Mermaid above Hercules and Tarzan. It's my personal thing. I love them more. Yeah, I do. Even Lion King, I don't like as much as I like Hercules and Tarzan.
Little Mermaid, I went back and watched with my wife 3 years ago. What do you want to do on your birthday? Lay in bed and watch The Little Mermaid. Okay.
All right.
That's what you want to do. It's your birthday. We'll do whatever you want. And we watched it. We both went, man, that's, there are parts that are so great, but it's not near as good as I remembered it being.
Yeah. It was definitely like the first attempt at a renaissance of this kind of animation.
They've been in the pocket a little bit during that stretch. It's also the Beauty and the Beast stretch.
It was right afterwards, right?
Yeah.
So I think this was like them working the kinks out, and then Beauty and the Beast comes, and then Lion King after that. So,
yeah, good for Disney.
Yeah,
they're good at what they do. So we're doing, set in Africa because we've done a bunch of Disney.
Yep.
And the live action just weren't enough, I guess. So we chose to do this. Tons of movies. Tons of movies.
I was worried when we came up with the topic.
Yeah.
And then as I did the research, I'm like, holy shit. No, I've got a lot to choose from here. And then it becomes about cutting.
I have a list of 13.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm just like, these all one. My most glaring omission, we've talked about it a couple other times. I hope you have it on your list. That was my hope of let's try and talk about maybe a couple movies.
Okay.
Get some more out there that we haven't had the discussion about.
Yeah.
Assuming there was a good chance that you might have this one. I don't think it'll be, if you have it, somewhere between 5 and 7 is my guess.
Okay.
That's my guess.
I like that.
I can understand if it goes higher.
Yeah. I was surprised at some of them and where they landed. But I also watched a couple in preparation, which I hadn't seen before.
Okay.
So I'm excited to talk about them when we get to their part on my list or your list. So, all right.
Yeah, I only got to see one for this one.
Okay. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
So once we set a topic, we go our individual ways and create personal top 10 lists. Show back up here. I do my bottom 3. He does his bottom 3. I do my next 2. He does his next 2. Then we trade one apiece. Once we have revealed our personal top 10 list, we create the shows between the two of us.
Boom. All right.
10 for me was The Last King of Scotland.
Okay. That's a massive punt.
Massive?
Massive.
All right. I haven't seen it since it came out.
Okay. Fair enough.
Massive.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What's your 9?
Okay. I need to see that again then. One I don't think you'll have.
Okay.
Prince of Egypt.
Oh, shit. That counts, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's set in Egypt.
Fuck it. That's my number 10. Fuck it. I love that movie.
It's so good.
Yeah. I don't mind kicking my 10 off to put Prince of Egypt on there. Go ahead. Yes.
When they announced that, I remember when it was coming out, I was like, can you do this?
Yeah. Right. Good question.
Can you do this and make it palatable for everybody?
Yeah.
And to me, when you see him part the Red Sea,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Just wow. And you see a whale, and you're like, there are whales in the Red Sea?
Yeah.
Are there?
I'm just about, are there lightning bolts in the sea? Like, as you can see.
That was more believable to me. He's parting a massive body of water.
That's fair.
If it took, basically getting some lightning going for electrostatic charge or something to help hold back the water, I don't know. I don't know. But the whales, anyway.
Yeah.
It was utterly fascinating. You understand the dynamic between the two of them and why each has to make the choice they have to make, and still trying to find commonality between the two, especially from Ramesses.
Yeah.
Like, what happened? Yeah. His feeling of loss because he just doesn't understand the fact that Moses pivoted 180 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the dynamic between the two, and then to see the waves of locusts and the, all these different things come to life, the burning bush.
Right.
Just surprisingly really good.
I would argue that it is the best version of the Moses story told on screen. Because Ten Commandments, to me, at times veers into cheesiness with Yul Brynner as Ramses,
Yeah.
Get the Moses heat. It just gets a little strange. And Charlton Heston, my God, I'm Moses. All that stuff gets a little straining. Mm-hmm. But it's not an unenjoyable film. I enjoy it for what it is, right?
Yeah.
But for me, this one carries emotional weight so powerfully. When they separate and you see Ramses just yelling in the distance, Moses, for his brother.
Yeah.
It breaks me every time because it's so real, and you sense their camaraderie, you sense their friendship, and you sense the tragedy of the separation of them as brothers and friends, right?
And the fact that it affects, you can hear it in the voice acting with like Val Kilmer, which I've always liked Val Kilmer, but it just like when they announced him for the voice, really, does he have a distinctive enough, you know what I mean? Because it's part of his visage helps sell to me. And then hearing his voice, this just calm confidence, having to make the choice. Yeah. And then it's Ralph Fiennes as Ramesses, right?
Yeah.
And Steve Martin and Martin Short are the two priests.
Yeah. The two priests.
Which is great when they're trying to do parlor tricks. Oh, we can do things like this as well.
You're playing with the big boys now.
Yeah, great songs.
Yeah, great songs on this thing. Oh, yeah. Michelle Pfeiffer plays Zipporah, which is his wife.
That's right.
Becoming his wife. And then
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum's Aaron. And Sandra Bullock is his sister in the film as well. She voices the sister.
Really good.
It really is, man. And like you said, the songs are great. And when the end comes, it is like that scene. This is animation, by the way, but that scene with him and his dead son.
Yeah.
Wow. And Moses is there, and he's like, "I'm sorry, but this had to be done," and blah blah blah. And he's like, "No." And then everything that happens after, and dude, just such a good movie, man. Great choice, man. I'm glad you put it on your list, dude.
There's a lot to choose from.
Yeah, man. I kicked my ass for not having that one.
13. I'm legit 13. I was like, really? I'm going to keep this one off?
Yeah, I know. It's tough.
My next one is just for pure rewatchability.
Okay.
The Ghost in the Darkness.
Oh, okay. I've never seen that, so take it away, man.
It's based on a true story.
Right. Kilmer again.
Yeah. With Michael Douglas. Kilmer's an engineer that's trying to build a bridge in Africa.
Okay.
And there are a pair of killer lions basically just picking off people. And they have tons of individuals.
Right.
They have guys working to take all the rubble and stone out. You have people making the wood to turn to the bridge. You have iron workers. Like, it's a camp.
Yeah.
And this is a true story. They ended up killing the lions and taking them to the Chicago Museum of Natural History or something like that.
Wow.
But they were on display there. When they found their den, there were just so many skeletons.
Wow.
And this is apparently aberrant behavior for a lion. It can happen, I guess, because here's living proof of it.
Right.
But it doesn't happen all that often. They were man killers. Just like, fuck, man. I think it's more so they just found an easy prey source.
Yeah.
It's just right there. I don't have to go. You guys just keep staying in the same area. You just build a fence around yourself, so I know you're in there. So all I got to do is get in. I can eat, get right the hell out.
Yeah.
I got menu options for days. So then Michael Douglas comes in as a tracker / kind of big game hunter, but it's not like the swaggering. He's one that there's a tribe that travels with him, and he's kind of part of it.
Yeah.
Still in his Western, like frontiersman kind of garb-ish for Africa. But is a man of basically, apparently his natural home is Africa, kind of thing.
Okay.
When everybody leaves, he will stay. He will
Right.
die in Africa.
It's part of the land.
Yeah, he's just become, this is who he was. He never knew it until he came here, and this is kind of, you can just tell. And how it's a simple bread and butter story. You know exactly where it's going, and yet it's got great tension and drama. The characters are fully formed.
Yeah.
It's good. Watch it.
Okay. I've always resisted it because it didn't get the greatest reviews, but then it's Douglas and Kilmer, right? Are the lion attack scenes scary as fuck? Or are they just quick and then it's over?
No, it varies.
Okay.
And, I mean, they amp it up for the movie, obviously,
Sure.
because the lions at certain times are toying with them a little bit. And I'm sure that does happen, but it's also like, this is a fairly
Yeah.
well choreographed. It's not implausible. It's like,
Right.
oh, okay, you know, these things could happen, I guess, hypothetically. But it's
right.
like, you're amping this up. It tells a much better story. But the terror of it, at certain times when you see guys get picked off and whatnot.
Yeah.
And
All right.
I don't want to even describe it. And there's like 2 or 3 that stand out and be like, oh, that's brutal, because you don't see all that much.
Oh, okay.
Just the terror of not knowing.
Yeah.
That's just as bad as seeing it come at you. It's like, oh, that's out there? There's 2 of them, huh?
Shit.
Yeah, they think it's only 1.
Oh, and then they find out
It ends up being 2.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Fun. Yeah, it's good. So what you got?
Oh, so 10, as we said, it was adjusted Prince of Egypt. My number 9 is Invictus.
Yeah, didn't make my list.
Okay. All right. No, it's not one of yours.
It's not one of my 13. It's good. I liked it. But
Okay. I like it. It's one I go back to all the time. It's got that sports movie aspect to it all,
Sure.
but also I
It's
really
what,
enjoy.
rugby?
Yeah, rugby. Yeah, I really enjoy Matt Damon's and Morgan Freeman's acting in this movie and portrayal of their characters in this movie. And you know, this could have veered into, as I just said, cheesiness or a little too much. But I actually find that they both walk the line of their characters really, really well. And when they have the moment of connection, and as it carries through the film and builds, you find yourself really enjoying it rather than being like, oh, they're manipulating my feelings.
Yeah.
You're actually enjoying the changing and the interaction. And I love the moments of reality that Mandela has with members of his own like crew. Like they want to do this or that, and he's like, no, this is what it could lead to. The young man, especially the young man that he was his bodyguard or whatever, his assistant, and he's like schooling him on how to proceed in the world, based on what he's experienced. Right? You forget sometimes that 20-year-olds like just kind of, they think they know everything and how the world should totally work.
Sure.
And you forget what it's like and you want to like criticize them, but you forget what it's like when you were 20 and you felt the same way. Mm-hmm. And so like so it's good to remember like that the schooling of stuff is really important we're not like, it's not tribal in that way that it's overt. It's more tribal in the way that it's instinctual, like you want to do that. And I love that, seeing it in the movie. And then the rugby scenes are great, but his journey too, and the racism and from other players and then from people in his own family and how he negotiates that as he bridges this piece. So it's just a really good film that I enjoy. It has a slightly epic feel to it that isn't quite leaned into hard enough to become an epic, but it's got a feel to it that I really appreciate. So that's why it's on my list.
I didn't think the emotional payoff at the end was strong enough.
Okay.
So that's why it was good. I was expecting it to hit much harder. What you're talking about, going epic. I didn't think go epic, but I thought it could transcend just being it's not a sports movie.
Per se. Right.
Yeah. Transcend all labels of that. And no, this is just a story about, which ultimately it is, but that crescendo just wasn't what I guess was anticipated.
Okay. Fair enough.
But I thought it was good.
Yeah.
It's really good acting.
Yeah, it really
from the two
is.
of them, especially with Damon with his accent.
That nose. It's really well done. Because the guy was massive in
I'm
real
sure.
life. And Damon is like 5'9" or 5'10", something like that.
There's a picture. So someone on my Twitter timeline follows Seth Rogen and either liked or retweeted a tweet of his.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, it was me taking a picture with some young kid. And it ended up being it was a European, but it was like a German or a Russian water polo player, this older man, this little kid. And this dude is just a hulking mass of an individual with so much hair. But it's all older, gray, and white. And just like, oh, man, that is a weird physique.
Yeah.
I can try and find that picture.
It's trained in a certain way.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're trapezoidal, but like as a shape.
Yeah.
But it's not like a perfect trapezoid. Like it needs to be more of a 3-dimensional object, but that's the overall outline. And then,
Yeah.
it doesn't have a lot of straight lines. It has a lot of bumps. I can find that again, though.
Okay.
Anything else to say about Invictus?
No. So then my number 8 is what we touched on near the beginning of this podcast, Tarzan, the animated version.
Okay.
Yeah, I thoroughly love this movie, man. I think it came at a time in my life when I was negotiating stuff with my dad as I was transitioning into becoming an actor and going back to school and all the Jesus Christ. Holy shit. That's
Exactly.
insane.
It's insane.
What? Is that a real picture of the Hulk?
I want to know if it's doctored or not, because that dude's torso
It looks like the Hulk.
is the size of an elephant trunk. I mean, he does look like the Hulk. He looks like old man with white
Old
chest
Hulk.
hair Hulk.
Yeah, old man Hulk.
I mean, how is that dude buoyant?
There's nothing buoyant about that guy.
No, he's just too dense.
I think he played goalie.
Yeah, just
In the chest.
he was the fucking brick wall that nobody could get anything past.
like
Dude,
they-
this isn't fair.
It's like that Geico commercial. He's a
Yeah.
walrus.
I saw that. I've only seen that commercial once. It was on mute, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. You can see people chanting the walrus thing at him. It's like, I know exactly what's going on. This is brilliant.
Anyway, I really love the movie and Tarzan. In anyways, like I said, it was at the time, and so it's just that relationship he has with Lance Hendrickson's character really related to what I had kind of with my dad a little bit. And then you throw in Minnie Driver's doing fantastic voiceover work. Brian Blessed as the villain is great. The music from Phil Collins is fantastic. The visuals for both of the songs, Son of Man and Strangers Like Me, all of it are just really great. I come back to them all the time.
Okay.
And I enjoy their relationship. Tony Goldwyn does such a great job voicing Tarzan, which he rarely gets. Like he's the president in Scandal. That's him.
Yeah.
And the bad guy in Ghost. It's hard. You're like, oh, this is the guy. And, so all of it just really works for me. And of course, Rosie O'Donnell plays and Wayne Knight. Wayne Knight plays the elephant character. Rosie O'Donnell plays the other mini gorilla there. And everything that happens around the movie, I just enjoy very much. It's like you said, rewatchability. You got Ghost and Darkness. For me, it's Tarzan. I go back to it all the time.
Okay.
I love it so much. So
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I've seen it, but
yeah. You don't
I've
feel
just
you don't
never.
have that connection.
It's one of the few Disneys who are just like, yeah, I don't get this one.
Yeah.
In that it doesn't impact me. The songs I thought were okay.
Wow.
The action was okay.
Yeah.
It's all across the board for me.
Just okay.
Just okay.
Okay.
It was after you're going up with Beauty and the Beast and whatnot.
Right,
And then it kind of lulled in the mid to late 90s for
Okay.
me on some level. Although I missed Hercules because of that, and that's fantastic.
Yeah, it is great.
So
Yeah. All right.
I was the poorer for it. And I have since rectified.
There you have.
I mean, Tarzan is just not one for me, unfortunately.
Fair enough. What's your number 7?
7 might be a punt.
Okay.
Black Panther.
Yes, a punt. Although it was almost not on my list because it's not actually Africa, but I feel
know.
like it has to count.
I flirted with it back and forth, and I was like, yeah, but
Yeah.
if Oakland is a real place,
Right.
then Wakanda is.
Yeah.
And if I'm willing to accept one, I accept the other.
Exactly. All right, what's number 6?
6 is the African Queen.
Oh, nice choice, man. That was the 10 that I kicked off to put on Prince of Egypt.
Okay.
So, it still was initially on my list, but yeah, this is a good movie.
It is. It holds up well for a movie from the 60s set in World War I.
Right. 2. What? Is it 1?
No, it's 1.
Right, you're right. 1. I'm sorry. You're right. 1.
Because they're there for the Kaiser.
Yep. You're right.
Not for Hitler.
My bad.
And the stall at the end to get married, and it all kind of comes to fruition for him. Didn't know that was going to happen. You know what? That's a nice payoff.
It was.
It's a nice payoff. And the boat just happens to flip over. But at the same time, they said, look at that, the Germans are always on a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So if they manage to land in one of their shipping lanes, so to speak, their natural crossings back and forth.
Yeah.
Well, good for you.
Well, it does a great job of building the tension as they build the relationship.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's such a harebrained scheme to build torpedoes into a boat that isn't built to do torpedoes. And these two are going to come up with these two older people are going to come up with this idea.
Well,
it's crazy.
But the nice thing is the driving force of this is her, and
Yeah.
her motivation makes all the sense in the world.
Oh, sure.
The Germans came in and rounded up all the people that lived in the village with
Yeah.
them and brother got socked in the mouth, but ended up dying because of the injuries.
Right.
So she's motivated to be like, these people are terrible.
Right.
They're awful. We need to do something about it. And he slowly kind of goes. I just love his first one when he's like throwing wood into the boiler to crank it up, and he's mocking the tone of what she just said.
Yeah.
But he's going along with it. He's already on board because he has nothing else to do. He can't go anywhere else.
It's very similar to Casablanca in that way. Like both times, Bogart's characters are sucked into this war, even though it doesn't want to be sucked into the war. Right? He's happily carrying supplies or doing whatever for people along that river. It's not his. He doesn't want to get involved in the situation.
True.
But because of his relationship with her, which blossoms obviously as they spend more time together, he's even more invested in to where he's sacrificing himself when he initially thinks at the end that she's drowned. He's like, fuck it, I don't care. Yeah, I did all this shit. Kill me. Fuck it. And he wouldn't have normally not done that, right?
Well, he says at first he's fishing and he was doing it alone.
Right,
And
right.
then she shows up and they have to change their tune. Once she's like, no, we're going to die anyway.
Yeah.
Screw it.
Fuck it.
Yeah. We tried to blow you up. Just know that people are coming for you. You think you're all high and mighty. We almost got you.
Yeah.
We almost got you. That's fine. You're to kill me. Although the captain relenting on the last wish,
Yeah.
maybe at World War I that happens.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Sure, maybe.
Because they're so far removed from the action. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
exactly, the front lines of any specific,
Right.
battlefront.
But but I think the movie earns that moment by building to that moment.
Yeah.
With
It's
some-
for the characters.
Right, exactly. With some harder edge, more like the leeches stuff, all of that is, and her losing her brother, like all that builds into it. Absolutely, and I really enjoy the performances of both of them. They're fantastic in this movie. Really good.
For the longest time, the only thing I knew about it was that Houston and Bogart were just shit canned the entire filming, and it drove Hepburn up the wall.
I'm sure.
They're staying up till all hours drinking whiskey and scotch, then getting up to shoot. Maybe that's why the bags under Bogart's eyes are pretty deep in that movie.
I think this is near the end too for him. I think he only did a couple more movies. I think before, after this movie, before he passed away. Okay. I think. All right. Okay. So my number 7 is The Constant Gardener.
That was one of the 13.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't grab you, huh?
It does, but
Okay.
it's just like, I know I will watch these others, or they were more impactful because of
Understood.
certain aspects.
Yeah, that's fair. I think for me, I really enjoy the relationship to the. Sorry, let me say this correctly. I really enjoy Ray Fiennes and I really enjoy Rachel Weisz as actors.
Yeah, you don't really see.
Right. So you see, it's such an unusual film with how it handles flashbacks and present day.
It is.
And all of that. And they're not necessarily a great couple. So you don't feel the weight of her loss on him until the progression of the movie establishes his own realization of how much of an absent husband he was to her.
He has ownership of this as well.
Exactly. Because it could easily have turned another way. Well, did she marry him to get closer to the story, to expose? Like, there's all of this tied into it. But it gets kind of pushed away because there's a bigger story here about a corrupt pharmaceutical company that just cares about money at the cost of these poor African people. And that's what's really needs to be exposed. And then it goes higher up the chain and all of that happens. It's a movie that challenged me to go along with it, and I appreciated that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it a number of times. I'm with you. Mm-hmm. And the disjointed, it takes a little while to get used to.
It does. It really does.
Because it makes it tough to not follow along, but just like you're dealing with a lot of complex stuff, and boom, 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 hitting you as you're trying to fill in. Well, who was this? What was she doing? What was going on? As he's trying to hunt down. So are we.
Right.
But they have to fill in who she was.
Yeah.
and
Was she
their
having?
relationship.
Was she having the affair? Was she
Yeah.
not having the affair? Oh, the guy's gay. Oh, what's this all about? And then the brutal way with which she's killed. And then it's not a happy ending. It is, but it isn't. And you're like, wow. He ends up atoning for the sins of being a terrible husband with his own sacrifice. You're just like, oh man, this is actually, because I remember, Matt, it took me 3 days to watch it the first time because I was just,
Really?
this is a lot.
No, it
take
is.
in.
It is. It's complex.
Yeah.
Because you have numerous layers as someone's life is being destroyed.
Yeah.
And then realizing there's also bigger problems.
Right.
Than just your own, stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's good, man. It was a tough it was a tough omission.
I respect that.
I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you could see this tale of exploitation for me in numerous countries. So I was like, set in Africa, I want it to be kind of like The Ghost in the Darkness at times, where it's something that only happened there. And other things I so directly associate with Africa.
That's fair.
Like Last King of Scotland, which we're going to get to.
At some point.
Yeah. At some point. Massive punt.
All right, so then my number 6, and this really surprised me because this is one of those ones that I watched for the first time for the show. Was Hotel Rwanda? Is that a punt? Or slight punt?
What number is that?
6.
Okay, it's my 5.
Okay, yeah. I wanted to. I thought I was going to be affected by this more, but I think seeing it 20 years later, or however long it's been since it's been out, I kind of lost the immediacy of the story, right? Because the Rwanda stuff is madness, and anyone who's not seen a documentary or read anything about it, if you have the stomach to read about the horrible things that happened in Rwanda, feel free. And this movie captures it really well, and it's on a knife's edge the whole time.
Yeah.
It's weird to see Nick Nolte as the UN peacekeeping guy. It's weird to see Joaquin Phoenix in this movie. The Scottish guy who plays David, who is like, the Irish dude, the Irish guy who plays David, who's the Irish guy in Braveheart and in Departed. Like, it's weird to see him in this movie, in this character, but the acting between Cheadle and Sophia Okonedo is incredible, man. The score to me gets a bit much at certain moments where it's like, we're going to make you feel this. And that takes away the overall effect of the movie for me. I wanted it to be, or I wanted to feel a little more of a harsher edge to it. But that being said, it's an incredible film. It's just not, it falls short in a couple of ways that for me, I think would have affected me more and made it move higher up the list for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's 5 because it's an excellent movie, but it's also a depiction of relatively modern day.
Yeah, yeah.
These types of things still happen, will continue to happen. I mean,
sadly so.
Sadly, but at the same time, it's just like, how do you decide who is right in the argument when you haven't been there in the midst of this discussion for centuries?
Right.
So it's hard to come in and be like, nope, it's clear black and white. No issue ever is. So it's just like, you don't want to see it happen, but at the same time, how do you intervene?
Yeah.
Just tell them, you push them at arm's length on both sides. Hey, guys, fellas, fellas, what are we doing? I don't know. So the fact that within our lifetime, this happened, and all these people, I mean, it was the Hutus versus the Tutsis, and just killing each other on levels, and getting kids and turning them into these groups of wandering killers, and they're out chopping people up with machetes and shit, and to have to live through that, because he and the two of them, Cheadle and his wife, her name was Sophia what?
Sophia Okonedo.
Okonedo?
Yeah.
I just remember from Ace Ventura too.
Yep. Of course you do.
That's the first time I ever saw her. So every time I see her after that, I'd be like, hey, Ace Ventura too. Not even kidding.
Oh my God, is that on your list? Anyway, go ahead.
No, it's not on my list.
There was a slight fear I had when we were putting this list together. You were going to throw that on there.
No. I would not do that. That does not count in the context of this list. Yeah. Great scene. I loved that movie so much. Totally, there's a time and place.
Oh, fair.
For all
Appreciate
things.
That. Anyway, yeah. The wife.
Yeah, so one was Hutu and one was Tutsi.
Yeah, right.
This is a real story. And they lived in a world up until that moment of like, we can figure this out until the dam breaks.
Yeah.
And just suddenly we're taking in refugees because there's no more room at the official, few places around.
Yeah.
And because this real life story of someone who's just trying to help in the middle of cataclysm. There was, those stories in World War II. With
certainly Schindler's List vibe to it. Yeah.
But there have been, over the years, more and more of those stories that come out.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's happened throughout the past. Shit. Steve Kerr's family, his parents, they were peacekeepers in Armenia. And during the Turkish genocide, they took in Armenians into like their compound and they could be killed for it and whatnot. So now there's a whole group. And those stories, that wasn't that long ago. And so to see a movie like that come to life where hopefully we learn, we educate, and we kind of lift ourselves up.
Well, it's scary too when you think about, and once again, Matt, this is not the place to get political, but I was listening to a report over the weekend where now apparently ICE or the government under Trump, they're apparently trying to push regulations where if you harbor an illegal immigrant, you can go to jail. You can get fined.
They can't do that.
I don't know.
They can't do it.
I don't know. But like that's something, and you're just like, wow, there's shades of this. Yes, it's not machete killing 500,000 people, but there's shades of like, oh, you're harboring an illegal immigrant. Like, what is that? So I worry that we'll slide into that, and I don't want us to, man.
No.
Yeah.
Look, you'd have to take away sanctuary cities first.
Right.
The federal government hasn't done that.
Yeah.
So you're telling me they're just going to zoom right past that? That's not going to get held up in courts for years as people debate the constitutionality of a law that supersedes the locality when the locality has the jurisdiction in this matter.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, just like, okay, we're going to be in courts for years. And then new people will get elected and political, opinions will change, and that shit is not happening.
It's just crazy that sometimes it doesn't matter what country you're in, this idea of going after people for this kind of stuff is like, it's weird. But the film itself, man, it does affect you, man. It's
moving.
Yeah, it's very moving and scary, and
it is. You don't want to see that side of humanity, but at the same time, you have to see that side of humanity.
You have to know that it's possible.
Yeah, I remember I learned that lesson when I was a kid. Someone asked me, it was in a civics class or something in 3rd or 4th grade, and be like, okay, so if we have a candidate running for office, do you think they should be allowed to use racist speech? Because David Duke.
At the time,
yeah, but he wasn't saying anything racist. But his past was all that, and my entire class. I remember we're all in unison, like, no, that's bad because you're in 3rd or 4th grade, and they're like, think of it from this perspective of if you see them do that, now you have a better understanding of who they are, and that's what freedom of speech is.
Oh, good point.
So now you know the essence of that individual.
Oh, yeah.
So I will champion your free speech because that tells me who you are,
exactly,
and how we can figure out how this problem is going to be solved.
Yeah,
just like yeah, let him be racist. Then I know he's a racist.
Right.
Much better that way. As opposed to the closeted shit. People saddle up to you. Hey, man, I don't mean to be this guy. You're being that guy.
Yeah.
You're being that guy.
No offense, but...
Yeah. And I only do that with my friends when it's all an understanding of what I'm about to say. You can tell by the look on my face. Yeah. I'm very happy with the racist thing I'm about to say. And then I say it, and I will get a laugh. And I'll tell you one off air that I dropped on a buddy. It just happened right in the moment. I said it, and he about died. And I was just like, I can never say that in any public capacity whatsoever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You build that relationship with your friends. So
it's trust.
Joke like that.
It is.
Exactly.
They know that, or I know that they love me and vice versa. Yeah. So whatever you're going to say, I know you don't mean.
Right.
So whatever you can think of, I'd love to hear it.
Lay it on me.
I've heard some good ones, man. And you're like, dude, you crafted that. That's like, you remembered 2 or 3 parts of my genealogy and came up with some of the most stereotypical worst attributes and strung together. It's like Deadwoodian. Good for you. We've known each other so long. I got one buddy in particular, just like he can sling an insult.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just like, that was good.
Damn.
That was good. Yeah. His genealogy is, shit. It's Scottish and Norwegian?
Oh, wow.
Something like that.
That's an interesting
but basically, his ancestors raped his other ancestors. And so basically, he's an inbred of Vikings raping Scots and whatnot. I'm just like, dude, there's so much wealth to make fun of you within this. It's fantastic. Once I figured that out, I'm like, this is great.
Having a good time here.
Yeah, why not? But it's only between the two of us.
Of course.
Never say any of this stuff anywhere else.
Right.
All right, so what's your 5?
So then my 5 is, my 5 is Black Hawk Down.
That's my 4.
Okay, cool.
We're lining up nicely.
What a good movie, man. Still
it is
fucking good.
How you juggle all those different storylines in the context of something that happened. Most people don't have the slightest clue that we had that much of a military presence.
Yeah.
Guarding against Somali pirates and trying to tamp down this warlord.
Yeah.
I had a buddy that was stationed in Djibouti after this, but we're here to basically stop Somali pirates.
Yeah.
He's in the Marines. So it's just like, Just got to be out there, and whatever you run into, you're literally hunting pirates.
Yeah.
This is the world we live in. So Black Hawk Down has always had more of a resonance of, oh yeah, he 2 years before he would have been in this situation,
Right.
just in a different, same theater, different campaign.
Yeah. I appreciate the reality of the movie too, because that came out like right as I was beginning or a year or two into or a few years into my military stuff. So to see the way they captured the frustration of the situation. There is no cavalry coming down the street. There is none of that bullshit. There's no movie happening here.
Yeah.
This is the reality of it. People are going to die right in front of your face. There's nothing you can do about it. They're going to parade around a dead body of your friend or your fellow serviceman, and you're going to have to deal with that. And then you're hamstrung by what you're allowed to do.
Yeah,
not
your rules of engagement.
Exactly, because you're an observer, not a participant. What are you allowed to do? Well, if fired upon, you can do this, but only to this extent. And then you cannot initiate it if something is happening. And you're just like, oh my God, the frustration of the red tape.
But you understand why there has to be the red tape, because we have the firepower. We could level the entire city.
Sure.
20 times over just from the missile barrage sitting right off your coast.
Yep.
So we have the power. We have more powers. It's just like, I get it, because I haven't been in that situation. And every time I watch it where guys are stranded behind enemy lines, in essence, it's like, dude, come get me.
Yeah.
I would come get you.
Right.
Believe me. Please, I would come. But at the same time, there's that genuine bond. You see it from afar. I'm envious of it whenever you see two guys that have actually done a tour or something together.
Oh, yeah.
They relate on a way that I will never relate to a human being.
Yeah.
Just like I've never had that shared experience, nor more than likely will I ever.
Right.
So that's interesting to me. I don't want it, but at the same time, I don't want to say envious, but I'm curious for sure.
Well, you respect it if nothing else. That's
without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Yeah. Because the sacrifice and commitment. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd like to believe in a World War II situation, sure, no problem. But, because there's such a polarity between right and wrong. It's the others where it's the shit, I don't know where I land in this.
Right.
And now you're asking me I have to be on the side. I have to pick a side.
Right.
And the side is picked for me.
Yeah.
That's difficult. I don't like people telling me what I can and can't do. It's unfortunate, but I just don't. It's one of my biggest pet peeves.
I know. Trust me, I know.
You're the same way.
I am.
You got out for a reason.
1,000%.
Yes. Just like I don't.
Yeah.
I will acquiesce on the vast majority, but occasionally it's just like, no, I do not want to do that.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
That's what my dad was always worried about when I told him I was joining. He's like, you can't even take my orders from your father. How are you going to take orders from strangers in the military? You're not. And it was the reason I joined, is I needed to get some discipline. So I was willing to subject myself to it. But, you bristle at it, though. You do.
Oh, of course you do. Oof. There are times you're just like, I got to do this because it's my turn to do this.
Right.
And everybody has their job to do. And you're just kind of like, I'm committed to do this because I'm going to be here for a while. Right. Type of thing.
The worst is when you know better than your senior in command. That's the worst.
Oh, that's a song as old as time as far as militaries are concerned.
Yeah, it's frustrating as hell because you can push back, but eventually you will lose rank or you will get into trouble or whatever. So that's the frustrating part of it all. It's the frustrating part of it all is when you're like, oh, wait, this makes no fucking sense. This makes absolutely no fucking sense. But then you realize the people above know that it makes no fucking sense. They just want you to do this to pass the time or to fill the time or do whatever. And you're just like, this is stupid.
Oh, you're talking about no real war aspect, just general preparedness stuff?
Yes, general preparedness. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, they have to keep you doing that shit so you're on a state of alert at all times because you have signed up for that.
Right.
And I would imagine you don't think of it like that going into it.
No. And even some exercises when you're out there doing the fake exercises, you watch your commanders say you got to do this or you got to do that. And you're just like, wait, that makes no sense because it puts us in the line of fire or puts us in a position where we can. And you have to go along with it because they're the person in charge. And if you say anything against them, you can get in trouble. It's frustrating. It was frustrating as hell to be part of it, to be honest with you.
It's Band of Brothers when David Schwimmer is going to lead him into battle and keep screwing up over and over and over again. And they all, because he was an asshole.
Yeah.
He was a good drill sergeant.
Certainly was.
He was. I mean, he wasn't a sergeant. He was a captain
Yeah.
or something like that. But he was, you need a unifying dick.
Yeah.
And they talk about it later on. Oh, yeah, that guy like that. Like, he's great for her. And they saw it from that perspective of he did motivate. We came together. We are a group. We all can agree on we hate you.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Even if it was unintended consequence, it got the right motivation.
That's for sure. That's what the drill sergeant's supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's supposed to get you to hate.
I don't even know how you do that anymore now with all the sensitivity stuff because they've had to dial it down.
They have, but it's also, but also the scary part of the military now is that they're so more lenient on letting people in. Like if you have criminal pasts, they used to stop you. Now it doesn't, and so it's a real issue. The military, and not a lot of people are talking about it, but like there have been gangs formed in the military. There have been real like cartels formed in the military who are transporting or
Giving them training.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunate byproduct. Some people are going to take advantage of that training for nefarious reasons.
And they'll pay up the chain to allow certain things to happen. So, that's the ugly truth.
Corruption scandal in Southeast Asia.
Oh, yeah.
With the admiral.
Yep.
And all that. That was fascinating. And they took him on these dinners and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You're like, whoa, dude. Yeah. Do you really think you were going to get away with all this? Good, the chutzpah. I guess if you're an admiral.
Yeah, you swagger until they catch you.
Yeah.
You swagger until they catch you.
You bullshitted your way this far.
Yeah, exactly. Until you catch me. And so it's an unfortunate truth, man. But people don't want to have their institutions or their organizations that are supposed to provide safety questioned or investigated because it makes them feel less secure, which is why a lot of stuff doesn't come out as much as it should.
I read an account. It was on Reddit and talking about what's the smartest lazy thing you've ever, was it Ask Reddit, like ever seen or done or whatnot. And somebody chimed in. So they were an officer on a boat, and the captain got up in the morning. And he was having his coffee, and the wind was piercing through the shades and hitting him in such a way that you couldn't move the shades, and it just continued to hit him. So he just grabbed the phone next to him and said, "Hey, change degree to blah 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 blah," and just hands up, and then the boat slowly shifted, and the sun went out of his eyes. It goes up to the side because they're out in the middle of the ocean. So as long as they get there, he just has to re-tack in 20 minutes when he's done with his coffee.
Yeah,
but just hey, I love that story. It's like, there you go. That's working smarter, not harder. It makes no difference in this instance of time.
Fair
if you're
point.
going this direction or that, because you're just out in the middle of the fucking ocean for a month at a time.
That's true.
So you can spare 20 minutes of just get the sun on my fucking eyes. I worked hard for this. I got to sleep on a bunk.
That's all I want.
That's all I want.
All right. What's your number 4, man?
That was my 4. So what's yours?
So my number 4 is District 9.
That's a punt.
Oh, all right. I had to make sure it wasn't I had to make sure it was Africa, because I'd forgotten where it was set.
It's South Africa.
South Africa, right? Yeah, I had to make sure. All right, so that's a punt. So then
3 is Blood Diamond.
Oh yeah, it's not on my list.
Really?
Yeah, it's not one of those ones I like, man. I don't know why.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to like it, but DiCaprio's accent bothers me. I think it's the height of DiCaprio being like, everything's really fucking important all the time, man. And I think Connolly's good. I like Djimon Hounsou, but I don't know if I buy their relationship that much. So I just had some issues with the film. Isn't this Fuqua as well?
I can't remember who directed it. I just remember, it's a story about blood diamonds from Sierra Leone. And
so it's a real thing.
It is.
Yeah.
It's still going on.
Yep.
And it fueled a civil war. The profits from those and
Zwick could do this one. Okay.
Edward Zwick. Basically forcing people into mining operations and whatnot.
Yeah.
And there's so much death surrounding these damn things that eventually regulations came up. Now, I don't know if specifically now they are internationally outlawed, but they're still getting mined.
Yeah.
They're still getting sold.
Yeah.
Diamonds are a commodity, unfortunately. They try to set up a pact afterwards that you go through a certification process and make sure that it came from a conflict-free zone.
Right.
But I remember reading stories later on that conflict diamonds still made it into the mix.
Oh, okay.
Not as often, but they still did get caught every once again because whoever is regulating this, how many can they actually test?
Right.
5%?
Good point.
No way.
Good point.
No way. 2%?
Yeah.
So it's like drug dealers, Mexican drug dealers at the border.
Yeah.
We're going to lose X number of trucks, but we'll still get the vast majority through. So I'm willing to take that's operational cost. And So it just the whole conflict around it, and to crystallize it, make it something that the average person can connect to, like myself, and understand what this actually means. Because I read the stories and whatnot, but it's a fucking piece of carbon.
Yeah.
That's all it is, and it's beautiful. I'll give you that. You know, Djimon Hounsou finds like a really big one and whatnot, and knows that with this he can get his family to safety type of thing, and he has to hide it from the people that are forcing him to do this or are out asking him. I can't remember exactly. And then they have a boss on top of that, and then there's a warlord on top of that, and it's just like it's different warlords all fighting one another. I can't remember the exact specifics of. I just remember the broad strokes of the conflict as a whole.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I can only follow so much death.
Yeah, it does become a bit.
Yeah, I will read up on some.
In
but
the African continent,
it's been bad for a long time.
Yeah, man.
Then there's like Darfur.
Yeah.
And then there was that. Oh shit! What was the dude's name that popped up online 3 years ago? It was a warlord.
Oh yeah.
That got huge. It was from a dude in San Diego who went crazy like a week and a half, 2 weeks after.
Right.
Yeah. Was that scene out? That's really strange.
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks later, that's where if you want to give me a conspiracy theorist, either that dude was Looney Tunes before, but managed to stumble upon this warlord that is backed by, or somebody stepped in and did something and changed the biochemistry of his brain enough to where he'd be 5150'd and they can just keep him in a mental hospital.
I think I like that second option better.
I don't know. What was his stupid name? Wasn't it Free something?
Oh yeah.
Free shit. Free.
Can you get it?
Free.
I'm just going to type in San Diego warlord. African
Free. Oh man, what was that?
Free Willy.
Free Willy, exactly. This is for the orcas at SeaWorld. They were standing up. Let's see, African warlord. Free.
Coney.
Free. Is that what it is? Free Coney?
Was it Coney? Yeah, Coney.
Okay, Free Coney.
Joseph Kony was the guy's name. Central African warlord. Yeah. There was a 2012 video. Right?
They're done by some dude and like one or two other people in San Diego.
Yeah, this guy.
I don't remember his face. I just remember his story.
Yeah.
I mean, it just went from craziness to even crazier.
A 30-minute film explaining why the world needed to bring justice to Joseph Kony, a Central African warlord who over the previous 26 years had abducted 30,000 children and turned them into soldiers and sex slaves. Jesus.
Yeah. Welcome to Africa.
Yeah, it's true.
It is. It sucks.
10 days later, he ripped his clothes off his back, ran out naked in the street near San Diego, slammed his hands repeatedly onto the pavement, battered himself against parked cars, and screamed obscenities until he was eventually led away by the police. Mm-hmm. He was sectioned in a psychiatric hospital.
Yep.
Wow. He is still on mood-stabilizing medication.
Of course he is. Under constant surveillance, which we'll just call doctors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's one of those of, I don't believe in conspiracy theories, but that escalated quickly.
Yes. Yeah.
And you don't see that in real life. And I don't believe somebody that is that bananas could put together a 30-minute documentary that captured the attention and imagination of a world.
Yep. Great point.
Not going to happen.
Yeah.
That dude was hopped up on like next level meth angel dust shit.
Yeah.
All this shit from movies I saw, like angel dust, and dudes are like punching out windshields. Like angel dust, man. Yeah, I just have no feelings.
Right.
But yeah, so within Blood Diamond, really his accent didn't bother me.
Okay.
I don't know what a real one sounds like.
Yeah.
So I was fine with it because he didn't seem to waver. It seemed to be carried throughout.
It was consistent.
Yes, consistent is a much better way to put it. Thank you. So it didn't fade in. It wasn't Costner in Robin Hood.
Oh, Jesus, no.
You know, DiCaprio did some work.
Yeah, but it was Costner in 13 Days. For me, it was. Where it's a consistently bad New England accent all through the film.
The thing is, I put no stock into it going into it.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't care.
Got it.
So like, I'm fine with it. I'm just intrigued by the story.
Yeah, that's fair.
And the tenseness of, when the general public knew we were on the brink of nuclear war, legitimately.
Right.
This is so dumb.
All right, that was your number 3?
That was my 3.
All right, then my 3 is Beasts of No Nation.
I haven't seen it.
What? This is one I watched for the show.
Okay, this one in Satsi, I wanted to watch.
Oh, yeah, Satsi I didn't see. So,
But
dude, fuck, you got to watch this, Matt. It is harrowing.
there's one I'd never even heard of, and it just sounds like an interesting movie. Stander.
Oh, no, I haven't heard of this.
Because I started writing down, I was like, never heard of that one.
Yeah.
Wrote it down. And Satsi, I remember that. I was like, okay, I tried to make time to watch.
Right.
I could only watch one movie this week, unfortunately. Usually, just like you did this week with two, I try and make time.
Yep.
And Satsi and Beast and that Stander looked so interesting. It's Thomas Jane. He's a former South African cop, now turned bank robber.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I believe it's based on a true story. And I was like,
It sounds like it.
sounds really interesting. Is it just shit? But it comes up on lists of like movie you should probably see.
Right. Like Machine Gun
okay.
Preacher. Kind of put
Okay.
I didn't see that, but
Yeah, neither did I.
but yeah, this one is, man, I had resisted this one. I resist African movies sometimes that explore the military aspect of things.
Dude, what do we got? What are we jamming on? What is it?
No way. No.
Dude, I'm in. That was a good beat out the gate. Do you have that personalized just to people, or is that the general?
That's my alarm, yeah. It's
Oh, that's your alarm. Oh, dude, you get on down on the alarm. Good for you. I need to change my shit.
it's the Bee Gees. One.
You want to give us a little? Give us your flavor.
Are
on
we
it.
going to get in trouble if I play this?
Probably. We probably shouldn't do
Will
it.
it get it banned? Will it get the episode banned?
We shouldn't do it.
Okay, fair enough.
Over
Good.
10 seconds, we have to pay.
No, I can't pay.
And
I
we
can't pay
have
the
no
Bee Gees.
budget to pay anything
No, we
like
don't.
that.
Not the Bee Gees. At
No,
least.
we don't. No, we don't.
Maybe the GBs. We could
Well,
pay.
yeah, or the BJs.
The Jays.
The French knockoff version.
I am staying alive.
Exactly.
Staying alive.
It's pretty good.
It's not DiCaprio good. Beasts of No Nation, dude. Like I said, I resist movies like this because they can get real dark and and this one really does. Fukunaga does a fantastic job directing this movie, and Idris Elba is man. This is. You get lost in Luther, you get lost in these other films. Of course, he's coming out of the Hobbs and Shaw, but you forget that when he dials into something, he can be overwhelmingly awesome in the role. And
Stringer Bell.
Yeah, Stringer Bell, exactly. He is even more brutal in this movie because he's in charge of this rebellion, and this kid, because this kid has his family wiped out, he stumbles into this situation, and he's trained to be a warrior for this rebellion, and he's fucking raped. He's forced to kill innocent people with a machete as an initiation. It is horrific. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but that's the journey. Their relationship is the journey of the movie, and that kid's journey.
That wasn't even spoiling too much. Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, that was you holding back.
Yeah, it is, because there's so much more into it.
Yeah.
Of it. And so that's what I would say. If you haven't seen it, man, do yourself a favor and watch it, because if you can get through it, because it is tough, but it also is Sicario-like, and it shows you the actuality of the situation.
Okay.
And what's really involved here. And it asks you to go, like, well, can you just blanket judge? Can you, when you know the history of this or that, or how certain things
Probably
came
not.
about?
You really can't blanket judge a whole lot of things in history.
It's true.
It's
true.
rare.
You want to go like, oh, these people do this, but you're like, well, how did these people come to be?
Yeah.
What are the situations?
Exactly. What was the provocation? Every action has a reaction. You're just getting the reaction from something else.
Yeah. It's still on Netflix because it's a Netflix movie, but it did get released theatrically, so I always make that as a qualifier.
caveat?
For me. Yeah, caveat. For me.
We've cheated on lists before.
Have we cheated, Billy?
We have definitely
Matt Knosky's
cheated.
on the.
Oh, really? You're above the fray? Okay. I didn't realize I was speaking with the pious
I didn't recall.
John Roca. Although you do have a picture of the outlaw behind you. So is this actual Outlaw Nation? Is this the embassy?
This thing. Yeah, this is the.
This is nice. Look at you doing ambassadorial work. I don't know if that's a real word or not, but it seems like it would be. Out amongst the people, mixing for, determining the trade policies and whatnot. It's smart to do it in the U.S., by the way.
It's true. It's
It
true.
is.
See, the carpet keeps you calm while we do
Yeah.
those stuff.
I got to assume this, and then the next branches are going to be in China.
Yeah, true. Very
You
true.
gotta build
make that
your
money.
embassies. Yeah.
It's
I get it. I
Transformers
get
is big in China, man. I got to build out there.
Sure. Well, you just get Outlaw Nation.
Sure.
Eventually, you'd be like every other country.
Yeah. That's a great point. A friend gave me that as a gift, so I told him I'd hang it up once I get in an office, and sure enough, there it is.
Is the friend Juan Roca?
No. My friend Eric, he's a writer. All right, so that's Beast of No Nation. That was my number 3. So that what was your number 3 again?
Blood Diamond. Blood Diamond.
Okay, so what's your number 2?
My 2 is Casablanca.
Oh, damn, you put it on the list. All right.
It's set in Morocco.
It is. It totally counts. I left it off because I was like, I didn't want to, I felt like it wasn't how can I say this quickly? I didn't feel like it was an African story, but it is an African story. So go ahead. Okay. I'm not going to fight you. Not going to fight you at all.
Well, look, it's African in that it's Morocco, and Morocco has basically been so heavily... The migration pattern from Europe into Morocco into Egypt has been basically back and forth, but especially with Morocco. Morocco has been the main port because it's so close from Spain, Portugal, Italy, and Italy was the number one trading power for a long time.
Right.
And even in the Renaissance, like going through that period as well. So there's been a lot of migration between the two. So when they have, French, German, I guess, all different nationalities there, it made sense to me because that has been such a port.
Yeah, totally.
As a country. I don't know about Casablanca as much because it's further south.
Yeah.
Because we flirted with, hey, maybe we'll go to Casablanca. We went to Marrakesh. But it's just like, dude, it's way over on the other side of the country on the coast. But at the same time, it's like Marrakesh was, to some degree, very much not as many white people. There are a lot of white people in Casablanca, but it's World War II.
Right.
The Germans are in Africa. Of course, they're in Egypt and Morocco. They've got a big presence, as do the French, because there's the former colonial system still, kind of holding on to what they have. Most have given up or relented or handed over.
Yeah.
Well, not most, but a decent amount. So, that always ranked true for me as it's a movie that's set in Africa. And it took me set in... It is an African tale in that
totally counts, my man. That's on me. What my perception of it was, right? Because as our lists are, it's our points of views on the topic.
Yeah.
And so like I said, I'm not going to fight you on it. I'd written it down as a possibility, but in the end, I decided I was like, well, do I really need to put it on this list? In my mind, I don't. But totally respect you putting it on. Great, great film, absolutely, and it's one that infuriates me though, for sure. Because I don't like how have we talked about this? I don't like how she's like, first of all, she breaks his heart. She leaves his ass without any kind of notice, because her husband is all of a sudden alive. And then
she thought he was dead.
Yeah, right. But then she shows up. She's like, why aren't you over it? For God's sakes, I got over it. Well, of course you got over it. You got to leave and go to the arms of another man. I could get over it because you left my ass all alone in Africa.
But ultimately,
and then I got to do this.
She didn't get over it because she wanted to run away with him.
She did, but then she went back to this guy.
Well, because he said, you'll regret it.
Right.
There will come a day when you regret the decision you're making right now, so I'm not going to let you make it.
He said at the end,
Yes.
yeah. But when she left him in Paris...
Yeah. I realize
that's a terrible thing.
But it's redemptive for him in that he grew and ultimately learned to let her go.
Right.
And that was his journey throughout because she was vacillating once again. No, I want to run off with you.
Exactly.
Blah, 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 blah. And just like, no, you ran back to him once and you're going to want to run back to him again.
Yeah.
And let's just end it here.
That's why I don't think it's a great romance. She can't make up her mind. She wants to play both sides.
See, I think
she wants to have her
honest.
cake and eat it too.
I think it's honest. I've been both parts of that.
Oh,
where
really?
I made the choice of, I know it's just going to be this cycle.
Yeah.
We can't continue this cycle. And then the other side of that of like, no, this can work. I
can make it happen.
Yes, we can make this work. No, it's not gonna. I don't believe you. It's just, I've been both sides of that equation.
Yeah, I can respect that. I can respect that.
So I've always, when he let her go, that resonates more with me now as an older male.
Yeah.
Because I've been through that. I can understand having to make that decision where you have to let part of yourself die. Mm-hmm. I've had to do it, but it's just like, this is for me to move forward. So I have to kill this.
Yeah.
It's the only way I'll live. Otherwise, it's going to kill me.
Oh, sure.
I'm going to want for something I can't have, even though we both kind of want it, but it's just never going to work.
Yeah. It's not going to work. Yeah, I understand that. Wow.
And
I still don't like her, though.
Part of the reason we went to Morocco is because I've always found Morocco interesting. Like,
because of Casablanca or because of
Casablanca or any of kind of the Mediterranean.
Oh, right. Okay.
Any of that stuff. It's, it could be why potentially part of the reason why the Last Crusade
Indiana Jones.
resonates a little bit more because you then throw in the Venice as well. And be
Right.
like, I love everything. It's even more. You took me to another location I love. Still in the context of you end up in Jordan and Egypt. You're still doing the Middle East type of. I've
Yeah.
always been fascinated because it's the seat of the culture, seat of civilization. All comes from that area. We've been around there longest.
Totally fair, man.
Yeah.
It was hard to keep Lawrence of Arabia off this list, but I was like, I feel like that's more of a Middle East, even though Middle
To
East.
me, that's why. Yeah, I was like, in my head, it's like, well,
Africa.
that'll make John's list. And I was like, it's more Middle East.
Yeah, it's more Middle East. Like in the end, I was like, this is more Middle East.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put it on.
It's like you can't put on a lot of the some of the biblical stuff.
Yeah,
'Cause
true.
It's like this happens way more
yeah.
outside of.
Yeah.
There's a little bit here, but it's mostly elsewhere.
Patton too. Like Patton was hard to leave off the list. Patton, a lot of Patton occurs in Africa in the battles with Rommel.
Yeah, set in
Egypt.
Africa
Set in
for sure.
Africa. Yeah. So, but I was like, no. There's a little more authenticity. And then speaking of authenticity,
What? Yeah.
my number 2 is Black Panther, which is not.
Yep.
It's
Perfect segue.
Fictional Africa.
Good for you.
As the paragon of virtue that I am. I don't know what we've talked about this movie many times. Great film, fantastic film, still holds up. It's not one that I'll go back to and watch a lot. I think having seen it 3 or 4 times, I'm good for a while. But certainly one that was really important and really well done. And I'll see what this. I'm looking forward to the sequel.
Totally get why there's a huge swath of individuals that have a completely different reaction of like, this meant so much to me.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Because if I was on the flip side of that, it would resonate for me. It's like, it's always been Latinos.
Yeah.
And I finally could see a white guy. It's always been, black guys. I
Right.
finally could see a white guy.
Right.
Totally understand that. For me, it was just like it was kind of a origin story-ish. And I already knew the character because he'd been introduced. So
Yeah.
I wanted them just to go off.
Civil War,
but they have to introduce his world type of thing. And it's going to be so integral to all the Avengers stuff to come.
Yeah.
So totally makes sense in the context of this overall arc of 21, 22 movies.
Yeah. All right. So what's your number 1?
Number 1 is District 9.
Okay. Cool. Good choice.
Because it's a excellent sci-fi film that is
really
really a
is.
discussion about racism and the history of racism, how that still carries forth to this day under the guise of a sci-fi film, which sci-fi has always done in literature. They'll tackle a lot of the day's issues.
Yep.
Go back and watch like Twilight Zones, and there's all kinds of interesting discussions about currently what's happening within the politics of the time.
Yeah.
And just just seeing it through a different lens.
Or even read the novels of sci-fi, and they always, although they put it in the future, the stuff they're dealing with
still-
is topical to what you're dealing with now
is.
as a society. Because we may go hundreds and hundreds of years into the future, but our issues will always remain the same.
Yeah, you didn't grow up near me, so I don't trust you.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
You don't look like me. I don't trust you.
Yeah, unless we are truly all a global, entity,
Yes.
all under one government type of thing.
Right.
But that's not happening in our lifetimes.
No.
No.
There's no federation of planets in our lifetime. No.
I think it's the only way, more than likely, the Earth could survive, ultimately.
Oh, yeah.
Just there needs to be one governing body, and we all have a say type of thing.
A benevolent dictator. I like what you're saying.
It's not going to happen in our lifetime, and somehow you're going to get the position?
No, I'm not saying I will be the benevolent dictator, although I would like to be. I hope someday.
Who doesn't want to be dictator?
Well, I think there are a lot of people who couldn't handle that pressure.
Well, look, there's only as much pressure as you're willing to put into the job. If you're a dictator, nobody's taking you out of the position. So you can do whatever you want.
No,
care as much as you want, care as little as you want.
Dictators get killed all the time, man. Coups happen all the time.
They do, but if we're talking about a singular individual over the entire world, you have a wealth of power no man has ever
That's true.
grasped.
Or woman.
Yes.
Could be man or woman.
Yeah, I didn't mean
Certainly
it gender
No,
specific.
I know you didn't.
An
Certainly
individual, a human.
possible. Yeah, sure. We don't want to put a dog in charge or a parakeet.
Well,
That's a human.
are you watching Years and Years?
No, what is that?
It's a British show. Emma Thompson's on it, but she's only a small part. But it's about a family in Newcastle, like an extended family in Newcastle, and it's set in the future. They start basically now, and it's the policies of now. If they kind of go a little worst case here, a little this.
Oh, wow,
And
interesting.
it spins this version of what politics could be like, and how people interacting, dealing with the troubles of the world in 10 years.
Huh.
And they just kind of keep moving forward, and it goes like they'll do it through a quick passage of time of like a birthday, this, and they end up on this holiday.
Right.
And then we sit down with them at the holiday, and then we live in that time for who knows how long.
Wow.
It's interesting so far. I think I'm only 3 or 4 in.
What's it on? Is it on Amazon or Hulu or BritBox or one of those, huh?
Amazon or Netflix, one of the two,
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
I don't know. I stream it somewhere.
I'll take a look because I mean, we last night we were kind of like struggling about starting a new British series. She turned me on to DCI Banks, which I started, which is fucking great. But I also got her to watch the first episode of Baptiste, which is the spin-off of The Missing. The 2 seasons that were on Stars about the finding the missing child. One of them is about finding this child. The other is finding missing 2 girls who were abducted.
Okay.
So the detective on both of those shows is Techke Cario, who was the villain in Bad Boys.
Oh,
That
all right.
guy. So
Yeah.
they spun off the show and just called it Baptiste. And it came out in Britain earlier this year in February. And he's in Holland and now in Denmark with his wife, his daughter, and her child, and the man who's married to his daughter, his son-in-law. And he gets dragged into another missing persons case trying to find this niece of this guy. And so it's my cup of tea on so many levels.
Okay.
Not her cup. She was out after 30 minutes, but I've always enjoyed The Missing. So if you haven't seen The Missing, if anyone hasn't seen The Missing, watch the first 2 seasons on Stars. They're fantastic. And then this, I can't wait to finish this one off. So,
Okay.
But after that, Years and Years is what it's called.
Years and years. It's all right.
All right.
But all our TV is stalled. So Stranger Things just came out, so I'm like on 4 or 5 of that.
Are you liking it?
It's good so far.
Yeah, I'm liking it. I liked a lot of it.
I don't know how many more seasons they can do.
I think one more. That's it. They're getting too old.
Well, they're doing is this happening here again?
Yeah.
In this.
Yes.
Which is true.
Right.
And how much longer can we do that? Because we're also basing this story around kids.
Well, young teenagers that are making out way too much, in my opinion.
How old are they?
15, 14?
It's perfectly acceptable.
I know it's acceptable. I just don't want to
Perfectly
see
acceptable.
it. I just want to see
You
it.
don't want to see it escalate. I get that.
Yeah. Like so many people freaked out about seeing Maisie Williams get naked in Game of Thrones.
She's in her 20s.
That's what I'm saying. So,
It's fine. It's totally fine. I understand we grew up with her,
yeah.
or she grew up with us, rather.
There it is.
But she is of age.
She's a young woman.
Utterly different.
Yes. Then seeing these.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's only so many stories you can do. How does this keep happening in this town?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
So
Maybe we'll do a mini review for once you finish it.
oh yeah, maybe.
top 10.
Perhaps we will. Maybe
I'm
we'll
down.
do that for a little Patreon content or something.
Works. See, more content you can get if you become a Patreon on the top
Yeah,
10.
go to patreon.com/top 10 with the number 10. Hit us up there. We got all kinds of tiers, all kinds of different stuff. Tons of, Spider-Man comes out on the main feed tomorrow.
It does.
It came out on Patreon yesterday.
Yep.
Actually, that was last week.
Yeah, last week.
Sorry, we were recording these.
That's all right. Don't sweat it.
Anyway.
The fans will catch up.
They will.
That was your number one. Oh, no, you want to keep going? You wanna keep going? Okay.
So basically, it's about like a UN force. So aliens show up.
Yeah.
Just aliens show up. And that's where we start. We start with the reality of they've been here for a long time and they've been sectioned off in their own area of South Africa. So it's apartheid again.
Right.
And they're living in squalor and these tin shacks and whatnot. And people come in to basically make sure that they're not making weapons, giving him the rations they're supposed to get, working on sewage, drainage, water, basically giving them a baseline of existence and then not helping them. We're not helping you with jobs. We're not helping you with better yourself because you need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
This is not your world type of thing. We'll be cordial to you. But there's animosity, there's tension throughout.
Yep.
And how one character, Vicus, the character's transformation throughout the film, if you've never seen it, how you can understand the plight of the individuals, and now you see it from their perspective and understand that we're all alive in the context of this movie.
Yep.
So there really is no difference in life. And then if that is the case, then we should probably all be Hindus. You know what I mean? We should be killing anything. Although we got a mosquito problem in L.A. right now.
Oh, yeah.
Have you been getting any bites out here?
No, not much out here, no. But I know it's happening. I see it on the news.
Dude, at our old place and at our new place, mosquitoes.
Wow.
Yeah, never really had them before either.
Wow.
And we lived there for almost 6 years.
Yeah.
And I used to live in the same neighborhood for 4 years and never had a problem there.
Yeah. It's always weird when these things pop up, man. and then disappeared.
Maybe it was the precursor to the earthquakes.
Oh, yeah.
When there's an uptick in mosquito births,
There you go.
we're more likely to get. There's no way there's a correlation there. But if there is,
Butterfly effect.
copyright Matt Notes.
Yeah, that's right.
On the top 10 2019.
There you go.
And I don't know how you make money on that, but we will find a way. Make T-shirts, spread awareness. We get a nickel out of every T-shirt.
Perfect.
The rest goes to killing mosquitoes.
When a mosquito flaps its wing, an earthquake happens. Where were you, by the way? Were you at home, or where were you when the second one hit?
You know what's funny? Okay,
Yeah.
so the 6 point whatever.
Yeah.
Felt it, but it was like just a little shimmy.
Yeah, we didn't feel it at all. We
Okay.
were walking out to the car and didn't feel it.
7.1, we were both at our new place, didn't feel it at all.
Wow.
And we're right in the heart of, I saw accounts from friends I've got that live within a 1 mile radius. Wow. You're like, dude, it was like 15 seconds. It was crazy long. Didn't feel it at all. Doesn't make sense. We're on a solid rock foundation.
Yeah.
So you would think we would feel it.
Sure.
But somehow,
Maybe the place you got is like built really powerfully to handle earthquakes.
nah.
You don't think so? Okay.
It was built in 1938. What do you think?
I don't know. The San Francisco earthquake had happened.
Look, we had an inspector down there looking at the foundation and whatnot. And so everything checked out.
Okay, that's good.
It is. We didn't feel it at all, though.
Yeah.
And I went on Twitter, and I was like, this is crazy. And then I turned on Talk. I listened to 1090 Talk Radio, or 1070. And they were live at the U.S. Geological Press Conference talking about, and it was fascinating.
Yeah.
I saw your tweet of like we were in a doorway holding hands.
We were.
Totally. If I had experienced
It was crazy.
every other person is yours.
Yeah.
So it's like, what was I doing at the time it happened?
It's incredible you didn't feel it.
Yeah. I went to the grocery store a little bit later, and there were people trying to buy out all the water and stuff.
Oh, Jesus, man.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad, but there was.
People are crazy.
It was already backed up, but like every third cart, there was like 7 to 8 carts per line because they only had 3 checkers open. There's a shitload of people there. But every third cart was like water type of, and you're like, what am I missing? Really? It was that bad? Didn't feel it.
Standard Angelinos, man. Always overreacting to shit. It's raining. No, we were watching the season finale of Stranger Things for that season 3, and we were 20 minutes in, and all of a sudden, she felt it first.
Dude, you were season. It came out the night before.
Oh yeah, we tore through it on July 4th, and then the next day.
Hot damn.
Yeah, man, that was our plan. Like we didn't go out to a fucking barbecue or any of that bullshit. Like I
didn't either.
We went out in the day. Went to try to find, because there's supposedly an installation at Santa Monica Pier. Apparently, it was only last week that they finished up the installation for Stranger Things.
Sure.
They had set up like bikes that you could sit on and all this kind of stuff, and so you could have gotten some cool things. But I didn't know they had taken it down. So we went over there, hung out at El Segundo, and then when we came back, we just started watching. And then the next day we were watching, and that's when it hit, and she noticed it first, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And then it started to move, and I was like, fuck me. And then when it went longer, we just immediately jumped up off the couch and ran into the 2 doorways, and then we just held hands while she was in one doorway and I was in the other. And I was just watching the fucking trees, like doing this, moving left to right in a violent fashion. And I'm like, man, if this goes any longer, this is going to be like for real. Like it's going to actually start, buildings are going to actually start falling. So it was scary.
It's crazy.
It's crazy you didn't feel anything.
No. Neither of us did. So we were like, can you believe that was the topic of discussion, because I would go off and be working on something else. I built some shelves. Today I got to hang drywall, make and hang some shelves, and then fix a door jamb.
Yeah.
And that one's going to be tough. I got to cut it out and then match the width of the wood, and then go to Home Depot and then put something in and then paint it. Dude, and then tomorrow I got to patch concrete so that somebody can come in and sand it all down for me on Wednesday.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, it doesn't end.
No, it doesn't sound like it ends.
It doesn't end. And then I got this, and then we're leaving just like you are to go visit some family. And then it's just like you gotta do all this. You got
Get it all done, yeah.
Fuck yeah.
It's part of it.
That floor took professionals 4 days to tear out.
Holy shit.
4 days.
And you were going to do it by yourself.
Well, they didn't use the tool I would have rented.
Oh,
so they
okay.
mostly did it by hand, because they went to Home Depot and rented another tool.
Yeah.
And I went and talked to a few different people, and they're like, that tool is not going to work because it's made for PVC linoleum tile, and there's no way it's going to be able to deal with your wood and glue.
Right.
It's like, okay. So I found a much more powerful one for double the cost at a tool rental place. Crazy. name of the company is Herc Rentals.
Yeah.
Their former massive office is up in the valley, Deep Valley.
Okay.
And now you show up and it's Herc Entertainment, and they have Marvel posters. So they rent out all kinds of crane gear and stuff to entertainment. But I showed up there because it's still listed on Google Maps.
Yeah.
And I walk up to the door and they're closed on a day they should be open. I don't know why they were closed.
Yeah.
And I was like looking through, and you look up at the top now, it's Herc Entertainment. And I look it up online. It's a subdivision of formerly just pure Herc Rentals. So then I had to drive into the heart of North Hollywood to go to a regular Herc Rentals. I was like, what the fuck is this? Oh, that's good business. Good for you guys.
Smart move.
Yeah, hopefully you're making some money. Now I got to fucking drive 10, or not 10 miles, but 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Another direction I don't need to be going. It's crazy.
Revenue streams, man. That's what it's all about. All right, so then my number one, if we're done with District 9, my number one then is the punt from way earlier,
Wow.
which is The Last King of Scotland.
Number one.
I love this movie, man. Love.
Forrest Whitaker is fantastic.
He's incredible as Idi Amin.
Absolutely fantastic.
And I had seen the documentary on Idi Amin before I saw this movie. And that's harrowing enough to watch Forrest Whitaker bring him to life in a very human way, which isn't newsreel footage. You're just like, holy shit. And this is McAvoy when he's still kind of established himself as a strong actor. You get some Gillian Anderson action, which I hadn't seen since X-Files, I think.
Okay.
And to see her come in and play this character so well, and then to see the progression of the madness of this, of Idi Amin, and also this relationship, which you kind of have that moment of like, oh, this guy has these great ideas of what he wants to do with this country and what
You believe.
Yeah, you believe. You told just like he does. And then he's like pushing back at people who are like, no, you got to be careful. But which is of course the idealism of it all, right? That the reality is when people become in power, their worst natures now, if they don't control them, have an avenue with which to come out even more so than before.
Yeah. Well, because you just want to hold on to that power.
Yep, by any means necessary. And you convince yourself that if you don't, the country will get messed up without you in charge of it. Yeah.
You want to look, the idealism is real. It will continue to happen because you want to believe that someone could you want to believe that they're somewhat like you and that you would try and be benevolent with it.
Right.
And do the right thing at all times. Weigh and measure all issues as best you can.
Right.
But any person that is seeking that much power, more than likely to do, because they did whatever they could to get that power, will do whatever they can to hold on to that power.
Exactly.
Especially when it's a coup d'etat and you're a military leader.
Exactly.
Death is a part of your life.
Yeah.
The most indelible thing to me was that fart scene with the baseball bat. Dude, because if you don't get to that can lead to some really terrible stuff.
Yep.
And just the yank and all the gas pushes out. Like, oh, God. And now you're basically just forced a man to fart all over you, and now you're breathing it in, but saved his life.
Yeah.
Could have.
That's what I found so good about the film is that it's very real in their interactions and friendship. And then it's very real, though, and unsettling how quickly he can turn on a dime to be this horrific person with absolutely no empathy at all. And then the suspicion, the paranoia that is constant throughout the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And what it leads to. And when he's like strung up with meat hooks you're like, holy fuck.
His ex-wife.
Yeah.
That he disowns.
Yeah.
And
Because she has a child with epilepsy or whatever.
I knew the child had some sort of developmental.
Yeah. And then he gets her pregnant. And he gets held up and can't be there for that abortion.
Yeah.
She gets found out. And when he sees her and she's a dismembered corpse on.
And Edie knows.
And yeah. Oh. That's what I mean. That's why I love the film so much. Is because it's great acting between both of them. And it's a tragic story, but yet a horrific story. And it pulls no punches all the way through. And I appreciated that about the movie. It's why I come back to it over and over again. Okay. And why it's my number one, honestly. Yeah.
Need to see it again then. Saw it when it came out, enjoyed it. That's why I made the list. I was like, you know what? I know that I like that movie.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you would have When We Were Kings.
Oh no, because that's like, yes, I know it's in Africa, but it's like it's about a boxing match, not about
it's set in Africa. I was just like, you know what? It's made a lot of lists. That was part of my 13. I was like, I'm not gonna because we've talked about it and
well, the same reasons I think you said, and also because like yes, it's an African film, but it's like, you know, it's them experiencing Africa rather than being a film set in Africa by itself. So, but it could have definitely qualified.
Do you want to write the list?
No, you do
or-
it. I'll bang. I don't have unless you want me to write.
It's fine.
Okay. I think your number one will probably be there because that's
What,
my
District
4.
9?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
my 4.
Casablanca, you don't have.
No,
Blood Diamond, where do you have that?
I don't have it at all.
Okay, then otherwise it'd be Black Hawk Down or Hotel Rwanda.
Black Panther's my number 2.
Oh,
But Last King of Scotland's my number 1.
2-7. Does 2-7 beat 110?
I think it does. Even though I may not want it to, I think it does. But then
just
it has
love-
to be Black Panther, Last King of Scotland.
I love how quickly you came to that response. You had a look of you were genuinely thinking it, and then it just came out so effortlessly.
Yeah.
I think it does.
Begrudgingly.
Let me conjure a case out of nothing right now to see why.
I really was. You're not lying.
Yeah,
You're
of
not
course,
wrong.
Of
I
course.
really was.
You know what? I can't fight you on that. 110 to me is better than 2-7. I can't.
You okay?
It's a one,
Yeah. It has to carry a little more weight. So
well, especially if it was a no-brainer for you. It's
Yeah.
like, this is my number one.
so it's Last King of Scotland and then Black
Black
Panther.
Panther.
Okay.
And then I would say Black Hawk Down,
Yes.
and then Hotel Rwanda.
Yes. And now we're just splitting, I think.
Well, I need my 2, baby.
Oh yeah. What's your 2? Oh, Casablanca, right?
Casablanca.
Okay.
What do you got next?
Let's see. We've done Last King, Black Panther. Oh, Beasts of No Nation is my number 3.
I haven't seen it, and I got Blood Diamond at 3.
Okay.
Flip the old coin.
Yeah, I guess so because I
You
saw
have
it.
the new and improved coin.
I saw it and didn't like it. So, but I guess it doesn't count. Right?
I haven't seen it, so I can't weigh. I can't tell. It's one of those. I would like to be honest and be like, you know what? By merits, that is a stronger film, more resonant film. I don't know though. That's the thing. I've got the
Good
old.
point. Yeah, let's do the old coin because I think I left the other coin in the other bag in the car. Yeah, I think I did. I transferred stuff over into the red bag. I forgot that I did. All right, let's do this thing. Oh, the weighted coin. Oh boy.
No. We have the weighted coin. There's
okay.
most definitely the weighted coin, and then there's
right.
the replacement coin for the
Oh,
one
right.
that got lost.
That's right.
And that one we never had trouble with.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, I'm flipping. All right.
Well, you don't have to.
That's fine. Does that count? No. That doesn't count.
What you got?
Superman.
All right, son of a bitch.
Is that me? All
is
right.
you.
Nice. So I get what? Beast of No Nation. And then yours. Right?
Yep.
Okay. What do we have next?
I got my 4. What do you got?
Yeah, that's fine because I have District 9, Black Hawk Down, Hotel Rwanda all the way down until 7. So
Okay.
what's your 4 again?
African Queen.
Oh, that's right. The African Queen.
Well, we have Prince of Egypt now.
We
in
do.
common.
Yeah, let's put that on there.
All right, what's your last highest to 7?
Yeah.
Which is
The Constant Gardener. What do you have?
okay. We've both seen that, so
Okay.
I'm my 8, so you beat me there, but
Oh, okay.
it's for Ghost in the Darkness, which you haven't seen.
Right. Boom. All right. Let's do this thing. The top 10 films set in Africa, yeah. Ad number 10.
The Constant Gardener,
Ad number 9.
Prince of Egypt,
Ad number 8.
The African Queen,
Ad number 7.
Blood Diamond,
Ad number 6.
Beasts of No Nation,
Ad number 5.
Hotel Rwanda,
Ad number 4.
Black Hawk Down,
Ad number 3.
Black Panther,
Ad number 2.
The Last King of Scotland,
And our number 1 film set in Africa is
District 9.
District 9, man. Good films, a lot of good films on this list. And like Matt said, a lot of films to consider for this one, which I enjoyed.
You know the other one I had a soft spot in my heart for and I wanted to put on there, but never really had?
What's that?
The Lord of War.
Oh, yeah, the Nick Cage one. That's
Always-
a good film, Matt.
Always enjoyed it.
Yep. Him and
It's-
Jared Leto.
Yeah, it's not trying to be the Constant Gardener. You know what I mean?
Nope.
But it's still telling a fair story,
Yeah.
I would say. and it's interesting. And I want to see how a warlord like that kind of exists and the choices they have to make, and between him and his wife and his family and everything else.
I really enjoyed him in that film too, Nick Cage. He's so good in that film.
Yeah.
All right, well, there you go. That's our top 10 films set in Africa. Thanks, everybody, for listening to this episode. Matt, what do we got to tell them?
Join us over at facebook.com/groups/the top 10 show with the number 10. You can follow me online at Matt Nost, MATTKNOST, and that is it.
Okay. We said it already, but maybe one more time. If you want to be part of our Patreon, www.patreon.com/the top 10, the number there 10. Go there, see all the different tiers we got, see if we can support. Some things have occurred. Matt, I'm going to talk to Matt about some other possibilities here for the Patreon that we can do that would be interesting. So there's always stuff we're working on. We're always working on stuff. We're always working on content. We're definitely determined to do that. So thanks to everybody who's come on. All the recent people who've come on, definitely. Thank you so much. And all the people who keep supporting us means a hell of a lot. Thank you so much. And we'll be talking about a new live show soon. But until then, follow Matt at Matt Nost, follow me at The Rocha Says, and we will talk to you next time on The Top 10.